Alright, yo, what's going on, guys? So, it's been a long ass time since I made one of these settings videos. I think it's been like over a year, so quite a bit has changed, including with my hardware and like class setups and stuff like that. So quickly, I just wanted to run you guys through that, and hopefully these settings will help you out. Keep in mind, I've been using these settings for like 2 or 3 years since Modern Warfare dropped, so I think these are probably the optimal settings for keyboard, and these are the settings that work best for me. Also, please note, most of this is preference when we talk about like Sens and keybinds and stuff, so just consider that whenever you're making these. Alright, starting out here for Sens, I use like a range of Sens. Sometimes like when I'm using like a heavier mouse or slower mouse pad, I'll raise it up, vice versa for lighter and faster pads. I'm normally in like the 2 to like 3.25 range on 1600 DPI. I use the max polling rate for the mouse on the Orochi V2 right now, which is what I'm using. I'm rocking 1000 Hertz. So yeah, but Sens is all preference, guys, so don't feel like you have to use my shit. Next up here for these modes, you can obviously choose between legacy and relative. I found there's not really much different. I just rock relative, instant, and 178. 178 is just your display res divided. Not that important. It's just like a fancy way for ADS, which, by the way, I use a 180S. If you want, and your movement feels a little clunky up close, you could try raising this mouse sense and put this to like 0.8 or 0.9. Custom sense presume, I don't use that. I don't really see the point for it. And then all of this stuff you want disabled, 0 or off. Next up here for movement, an important one is slide behavior. Put that to tap. All of this stuff, toggle, toggle, disabled, toggle, disabled. Hold. And then for walk speed, I recommend you just put that to the max. Auto deploy, turn that off. I just disable this. I'm not really sure what that is for. And these are my keybinds. A lot of these are preference. I kind of built these off of my Fortnite keybinds whenever I played Fortnite. So I'm just going to scroll through these. I do use double binds for prone. Sometimes, like when I'm sneaking ahead, it's just easier to hit my mouse button. Sometimes I just hit Z out of habit. So that's why I have 2 binds for that. But this other stuff is just kind of preference. I don't use auto tack sprint. I bind tack sprint to left shift, so I just hit it 1 time. That way I can walk and like shoot, and I'm not always like tack sprinting. And then yeah, all this other stuff doesn't really matter. For weapons and equipment, this stuff doesn't really matter. If you want a faster switch delay, put this up or down. Down for faster. And then here is the rest of this stuff. Pretty much everyone's going to use R for reload. 3 and 4 are my first and second weapons because that's what I use in Fortnite. And mounting, I just use mouse button 5. I don't really mount that much. And yeah, here's the other stuff. Kill streaks, a lot of this doesn't matter. Just like kind of put them where you have extra keys that are kind of easy to hit. Overlays, this stuff's not that important as well. I use my thumb to hit ping. That's why that's N right there. Same with push to talk. This stuff's not that important either. Now going on to graphics, pretty much you guys, if you want the highest FPS possible, I recommend use the settings that I have because that's what mine are optimized for. So put this to full screen, set this to your monitor's refresh rate, use 100. You can lower this if you need, but I recommend don't going below 100 unless you really have to. My monitor is a 1440p monitor. Disable this, frame rate target. This doesn't really matter if this is off. Aspect ratio, just put that to auto. VSync, you want that off. Custom frame rate limit, if you want, you can limit the menus to keep your GPU and devices cooler if you're not playing. Brightness, this just kind of has to deal with your monitor brightness, so just change this accordingly. And then I just use 2.2 for that. Extra quality, I use 120 affected. Affected, it kind of helps with the recoil, at least like visually. Camera movement, want that all the way down. And then all this next shit, pretty much turn it all the way down and disable it. I do use anti-aliasing sometimes if I want a little bit more clarity, but other than the cache spot shadows and cache sun shadows, you want everything low or disabled, but make sure you have these 2 enabled. And also, like if your game looks like shit, you can change this as well as the anti-aliasing. I usually play with low. Very low is a little bit too much. Interface, nothing much too important in here. Minimap shape to square, that's kind of preference. I think square you can see more, so it's better. This other stuff though really doesn't matter. If you want your FPS counter on in the top left, you can put that on right there. This is your ping, and then some other stuff here if you guys want that. Audio, the footsteps, at least on Rebirth Island, are pretty much non-existent. I've played around with all of these modes, and none of them really make a difference to me, so I recommend just using like boost, high, low, or the normal one, whatever you think is good for you. But I still can't hear shit in this game regardless of what I use, so I just leave it there. Master volume, this has to correlate with your system volume, so just change that accordingly. I turn all of this stuff off pretty much that you don't really need, and yeah, set these devices to the devices you use. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Controller, we don't talk about controller here on this channel, and yeah, that is pretty much it. So we'll go on to the classes now. Alright guys, so for my classes here, I'm just going to run down. I actually don't use that many different guns, but I'll just kind of give you guys some of the more common ones that I use. And also, if you guys see in a video that I'm not using a gun, that means I've already used it in a video, so the class is already there, or I have like a Twitch command for it. Alright, so I'm actually working on getting a gameplay with this fin. This is the setup I'm rocking, kind of build it like the M13. Right now, this Owen gun is pretty much like the SMG meta, so I've been putting this on when I'm trying to go hard. If you guys want a decent MP7 class, I recommend this one for solos. If you're playing like trios or whatever, I'd put the 60 round on, but there's that. Also, you can take no stock, put the suppressor on, or take off the sight. This is the Cold War AK-47. This shit actually beams still. This gun is very good. This is the normal well gun class. This is not the hipfire build that I've used in a couple of videos. This is the Grau right here. I find you don't really need the 60. You could put the 60 on if you want, but I kind of like the 50 better for mobility. And yeah, pretty much every Modern Warfare AR you build the same exact way. You use the mono, max range barrel, commando, increase the mag, and then you could do an optic or a laser. This is the OTS that I use. I pretty much build it for all mobility. This is, you guys know the M13. This is my favorite gun. I've been using this shit for like a year straight. Yeah, nothing hits like the M13, so this is the GOAT right here. This is my Swiss class whenever I decide to snipe on rare occasion. This is a hipfire PPSH build. I don't know how good this thing still is. It used to be like really good, but I think it's still decent. This is my MP40 class. I'm not sure if they actually just nerf hollow points. You can put like frangible on or whatever, but this class did change a little bit. It used to be able to rock like the fire rounds in a different barrel, but I believe this is like the best setup for it now, so this is kind of what I use for that. Yeah guys, I think that's pretty much it for my classes that I'm using now. I'm sure I'll have new guns and shit come along, which I will try to make commands for, toss them in the video if I can. My perks and lethals and that stuff is the same for every class. I rock double time, overkill, and amped. And sometimes on occasion I'll do restock and I'll do like an SMG and a Diamati. But yeah, those are my classes. And other than that guys, that's pretty much all of the important stuff. Just quickly for like my hardware, just like the important stuff, I'm rocking the Razer Hunstman Mini right now with the Clicky switches. Also on the Razer Orochi V2, I'm using the Artisan Hien XL. I think it is the soft variant. That's kind of like the important stuff. I'll probably put some other hardware down in the description, like my monitor, PC specs, and audio, and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys are looking for more hardware stuff, just look in the description for that. Anyways, yo, I've been putting off this video forever, guys. It's been a year, literally, since I made a last settings video. So hopefully these help you out if you're on keyboard, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did find this helpful in any way, shape, or form, please be sure to drop a like and a comment. It really does help me out, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace.